Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realise. And so, is the 5-year rule still in place?
It is, yeah. Look, there's always going to be a place there, Gavin, for like temporary solutions and rapid temporary solutions. We get that. But what we're trying to get across here is that don't just look at MMC and modular as a temporary solution anymore. It's a permanent solution.
So I can blame you for my cold feet in the winter when I was living down the west of Ireland and having to go into a cabin and listen to the teachers. So from the knees up, I was nice and warm.
Yeah. And you had the buckets placed around catching the water dripping and all the rest of it. Yeah.
But in fairness, it is an initiative, and talk to me about the techniques. Have they moved on? I obviously they have, but talk to us about the evolution of modular homes and modular buildings for schools and stuff like that, and how the techniques have moved on from 20 years ago. Hi everybody, Gavin Coyle. I'm the Gaffer, back again, and I have a fantastic guest today. You wouldn't think he's in Ireland with his accent when you hear him, but he's got a lot to tell us today about his actual business, and he's got a great background as well. We love having characters on I'm the Gaffer, and obviously the construction industry tends to have a lot of good characters knocking around, and this is one of them. Mark Whitehead is construction director of CPAC Modular, and I'm really interested to get in under the bonnet on modular homes, and as opposed to bricks and mortar or traditional bricks and mortar, and how that's making a change within the industry. But also Mark has a fantastic background, not just in construction, but also his rugby background, which I'd like to get into in terms of what that brings to the table as a director and a leader within the construction industry. Mark, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on I'm the Gaffer. Welcome.
Thank you, Gavin. Great to be here.
So, when I said that you were in Ireland, what part of Ireland are you currently in at the moment, or where's home for you?
County Meath, good County Meath there. So, living in Ratoath, and our headquarters is up in Dunshaughlin. So, nice part of the world to be in.
So you're close to the office.
Very close to the office, yeah, 10 minutes away.
So give me the Mark Whitehead morning schedule. What does that look like?
Generally, the Mark Whitehead schedule at the minute, the morning looks like kind of a 5 o'clock wake up call from the young kids. I've got 3 kids under 6, so there's normally a very early morning wake up call, and then it's the challenge of getting them all packed up, getting them to school, and me getting into the office to start the day, I suppose, which can start any time from 7 in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning, just depending on the floor. Okay,
and are you doing weekends these days?
No.
That day is gone.
That day is gone, Gavin. Yeah, look, it's Monday to Friday. There's enough going on. There is work going on a Saturday quite often, but that don't need my involvement. We've got a great team here who look after that, and there's no issue on that side.
So, talk to me about the Yorkshire accent and where's that going? Where did that start?
Well, if you speak to my friends back in the UK and Yorkshire, they're saying I've got an Irish accent now every time I go home. So, I'm sure there's a little bit of mick taking there. But no, look, originally from Huddersfield, back in Yorkshire there. So, I've been over in Ireland now for the last 10 years. Met my wife over in Huddersfield. She was at university there. I was playing rugby over there. And then, it were always going to come to our heads where children were on the cards, and she wanted to move back home, etc. So that's when we made the move 10 years ago.
Fair play. So you followed her. You followed the Irish woman back to her roots.
I certainly did, and look, fair play to her. Ireland is a great place. Yorkshire's a lovely place. Don't get me wrong. God's own country and all the rest of it is a great place. But Ireland's very similar. To be fair, there are a lot of similarities between the two.
And the people. The Yorkshire people, are very similar to the Irish.
Very friendly, yeah.
But I suppose you'd have to go to Cavan, and only an Irish person would actually understand this one to sort of match the, how would you say, the economical values of people in Yorkshire and Cavan. They're very similar, I believe, no?
Very similar. You can speak to a few people. I won't say I'd be the same as that, to be honest. I won't be shy of spending a few pounds here and there and having a good time and enjoying things.
A Yorkshire man that actually spends money, that's going to go down in history, that one there.
I got kicked out, kicking and screaming out of Yorkshire. I was spending too much.
So talk to me about the rugby. Let's get into that. Like, how serious were you in the rugby circles, and what did What level did you achieve? I see you were coaching as well.
Yeah, played National League level in UK, so decent enough level. Never went professional. It wasn't that kind of seriousness, but I suppose that kind of a level still at National League. You're still training 3 or 4 times a week and playing on a Saturday. And leagues over there, it's kind of 25, 30 games a season kind of a situation. So you don't have many weekends off. And it's a serious commitment where, to be honest, like you've got to get the right bunch of lads together and got the right commitment and the right attitudes to make things like that work.
There's a lot of parallels between leadership, obviously, and coaching. What did you take from the rugby experience that you've brought into the construction industry? Do you feel?
Well, I've always been in construction, so when I were back playing rugby, I was still had construction on the side, a business on the side, and everything. So, but they are very similar. Like you say, look, we're kind of, with rugby, you've normally got 1 or 2 key people in there. You're 10 and you're 8 and you're 12. That are kind of key players in there that you've got to keep happy and keep moving. Kind of similar to construction, you've got your project managers who are key on sites. You've got production managers in MMC. So you got to keep everybody kind of ticking along. And I think the biggest thing that I found in rugby and construction is all aiming towards that same goal, whatever it is. If it's a cup final, if it's a strategic move for a business, if it's a certain project you're trying to get completed, if everyone's aiming towards that same kind of vision, that same goal, there's nothing worse than being involved in a team and kind of half a team wants to win the league and half a team wants to win cup, and then half a team don't care. It's a difficult situation.
Yeah, and it's one thing that's resonated with me of late with the rugby side of things is it very much is a squad game as opposed to the 15 guys on the pitch. Mostly guys are probably just getting 60 minutes these days as opposed to 80 minutes or not even 60 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, we obviously Ireland there. They've got a half decent coach there now involved as well from UK, good rugby league man, old Andy Farrell. So he's doing a great job over in Ireland, and it's great to see. But no, I think major lessons are learned from kind of sport that are brought into business, construction, all over the kind of the sector and everything. And it's there's a lot of similarities, and we can learn a lot from sport at the minute, definitely.
So, in terms of construction, then did you go straight out onto the tools, or what was your background? Mark?
Yeah, so I went carpentry background. That's what I started in. That was what I would kind of do. That's to kind of got my trade, and then worked for myself for kind of 10 years back in UK, doing all kinds of different projects over there. And then that's when I made the move across. So came over originally with the big plans to build their own house and have their own, get all that kind of side done, but planning and all that put a stop to that. So it was kind of 2.5 year project to get even planning. So I came over here, played rugby over here for a couple of clubs and got involved with a couple of developers over here and did a good bit of work for them. And then kind of 4.5, 5 years ago is when, CPAC kind of opportunity presented itself.
So in terms of your family and all, everyone's based here, did you go straight into the director role? So I'm just interested to see your career progression. So you went from on the tools to obviously into a site manager role in the UK. And is that the way you came across to Ireland then as a site manager, project manager?
No, I had my own business in UK for 10 years, so I was running that, so I was a director of that. So, that kind of ran that, came over into Ireland. It's a bit different, not a bit, slightly differences. So came in kind of a construction manager role for a couple of companies, like I say, developers, and then came into CPAC as head of construction and then moved quickly enough into kind of the director role.
Yeah, look, I'm actually, the interesting part for me on this one is I speak to a lot of Irish guys that come back from the UK and they go, Ireland's great, but in the UK, it's just done a different way in terms of running a construction company. And it's a bit more straight line. I'm not saying there's skullduggery going on. The skullduggery goes on in every industry, but, and it's not rampant in construction as much as some people might think. But I am interested to get your thoughts on the differences of running a construction company in Ireland as opposed to the UK, and what that looks like.
I think the big differences are the UK. It's the scale in the UK is crazy. You're going to London, etc., and it's just it's like another world. It's like another country within a country. It's crazy stuff. So I suppose the benefit of Ireland is that you can kind of. I found the benefit of Ireland being that you find the right contractors, you work with them, and then you work with them going forward. You kind of bring them along the journey. It's not a case of you work with them once and then you never see them again. It's, you work with them, you bring along that journey. And if you've, like we've scaled up massively in the last few years, so we've brought contractors along with us who want to scale up with us, because we're trying to create those partnerships, those kind of bonds and stuff. That's the same with the guys in the company. We've got young guys in the company who are ambitious, who want to push on and want to see progression in their career. So we're kind of saying, look, you can do that. You can be a director. You can, be a site manager, a project manager, whatever you want to be. Let's get a progression. Let's get a pathway for you to get there.
I mean, that's very interesting that you should say that. I never thought of that. And the fact that because we're so small, it actually tightens things up for relationships.
Oh, it does. Yeah, massively.
Which is probably connected. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just not to take. I don't mean Ireland being small in a bad way. I mean Ireland being small in a good way. It's there's a lot of work here, and it's great work, and there's some really fantastic jobs being done. But it's just that opportunity to create a relationship is almost easier. It's and it's part. You need to create those relationships. If you don't, you're going to struggle in Ireland to get through work. To be honest.
Yeah, and as well as that, there's a lot of Irish contractors will tell you they don't want to go travelling over to the pond anymore.
And they shouldn't have to do anymore. They shouldn't have to do anymore. There's enough work here, and there's enough guys here where putting projects together, and nursing homes up, schools up, everything. There's enough work for everybody.
Yeah, but on the flip side of things, I've often heard where a UK company have tried to break into the Irish markets just to add on another division within the business, and they've found it really difficult to break the relationships.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, and that's a good thing though. Again, it's because the old kind of undercutting that goes in to try and get into some sectors and some countries and stuff. That's no good for us either, because that'll be a short-lived thing.
It's a bit like going to Portugal and not having Uber on your app.
You
have to get the local taxi.
100%. Yeah.
So CPAC are Irish owned, are they? Are they an Irish owned
family owned still. Yeah, family owned still.
How long are they?
About 45 years now. Oh, serious? Yeah, no. They started off as a cabin pack hire. So cabin packs, jetlag cabins, kind of, site welfare, temporary buildings and solutions. And then, when I kind of came on board about 5 years ago, they were developing kind of a hybrid kind of temporary solution for education and offices and that kind of side of it. Kind of because 5 year, you can get a temporary 5-year planning for schools within Ireland to, for emergency accommodation. So that's kind of what it were aimed towards. But now we're permanent modular, 50-year lifespans, and real serious projects. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize. And so, is the 5-year rule still in place?
It is. Yeah. Look, there's always going to be a place there, Gavin, for like temporary solutions and rapid temporary solutions. We get that, but what we're trying to get across here is that don't just look at MMC and modular as a temporary solution anymore. It's a permanent solution. So
I can blame you for my cold feet in the winter when I was living down the west of Ireland and having to go into a cabin and listen to the teacher. So from the knees up, I was nice and warm.
Yeah. And you had the buckets placed around catching the water dripping and all the rest of it. Yeah.
But in fairness, it is an initiative, and talk to me about the techniques. Have they moved on? I obviously they have, but talk to us about the evolution of modular homes and modular buildings for schools and stuff like that, and how the techniques have moved on from 20 years ago.
Oh, massively, yeah. Like you talk it. Everything's about getting a lean process now. So lean manufacturing. So I'm a black belt in lean, and that's all about, getting rid of any kind of waste, whether it be, a labour waste, a material waste, and how we can make things efficient. So, I won't bore you too much on this, but you'd be building a modular building before that might be 10 sections, for example, and the modules they'd sit still, you'd fit them all out, and then it'd be a slow process and they'd be taken out. We've now got a process where it's a floor, so it comes in as a frame and it pops out at the end of the floor, finished as ready to go to site, with everything finished, ready to go. So we've kind of created that flow. So efficiencies within our production facility have gone through the roof because, we've taken out all the waste, and that just means we can deliver more. But like I say, the big thing about what we're doing now is delivering the permanent stuff, because, temporary's fine, don't get me wrong, but if you've got planning for a permanent building on a site, build the permanent building. Don't build a temporary one. It just doesn't make sense.
So talk to me about the fire regs and the compliance issues with regards to, permanent versus, modular.
So all of our temporary buildings meet regs as well. Okay, so they all meet building regs as well. The big difference between our temporary solution as permanent one really is the external facade. So if you remember your prefabs, your grey looking, you can see the joints of the modules. That's kind of, whereas the ones that we're looking at now, they've a rendered finish or a brick slit finish or a rain span finish, and I'll show you. I'll send you a couple of pictures on after this, Gavin. You can see that, and you can get it out to the guys and see that, to try and show where these buildings that we're building are modular now from the look of them.
We'll put some links in the show. We'll put some links in the show, actually. Yeah. So there's probably buildings that we pass on a daily basis now that we think are bricks and mortar when they're actually modular.
But yeah, potentially, without a doubt. Like the one that we're doing now, that we're finishing it now, is Ireland's first permanent modular school.
Wow. Okay.
And it's 3,600 square metre. It's on a greenfield site. It's going to be catering for 500-600 kids. It's a brand new school. It's GP halls, basketball courts. It's everything. Yeah.
So, talk to me about the foundations then. What way are you building from the ground up?
So we pad foundations. So, to put it in simple enough terms, you'd be looking at like a 800 square, 300 mil deep foundation, and then you're building up on either lean mix to get good ground, but then bearing and everything. But you're around about every 3 meters, you'd have one of those. So you're pulling out a load of concrete out of your build, your embodied carbon, etc. It's it's a sustainable way. Oh yeah, really is, and the speed of construction is the massive thing for us. That we can halve projects, we can knock 30% off projects quite comfortably, just depending on what it is.
Talk to me about the steel. Like, are you buying in the steel then? Are you hedging steel in terms of buying in steel, or what way do you work it? Let's talk about lean, because I'm a big fan of lean. So let's get under the bonnet and talk about numbers. Then where's the savings?
Yeah, so simple stuff for us, like all of our materials in our production facility, it's just done on a very simple Kanban system, right? For most of the materials, so we got 20 pallets of plasterboard. You get down to 10, you order another 10. Very simple. That's the very simple, stupid way of doing it, and that's working perfect. The steel slightly different. Obviously, like you say, we've got to hedge his bets a little bit. So, we're going to buy in a good price so that we can offer a more competitive price going forward. But we had a major issue with our steel frames that we were getting before. About 2 years ago, we used to buy our steel frames in, and due to lead times, etc., we were struggling. So we invested heavily in some Howick roll formers. So I don't know if you've ever seen them, but so basically we buy big coils, and it rolls through a machine to give you either a 300 mil profile, a 150, or an 89 mil. So what that does is we can build our own frames, our own walls, our own floors, our own ceilings, and everything. So we buy the coils in at a good price, which we can roll at a good price, and it's knocked our lead time down from kind of 4 to 6 weeks down to 4 to 6 hours.
Wow! Oh my God!
Yeah.
So the return on investment has got back tenfold, probably at this stage, anyway.
Huge, massive. But our biggest problem with this, Gavin, is that we've got loads of capacity left.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Have you thought about outsourcing some of that to the industry?
Yeah. Oh, we have. Yeah, look, we've set up CPAC framing, so that's selling out the profiles and the frames and everything out to industry, because we're kind of the kind of company we are. It's kind of, we're not going to do something like that and keep it to ourselves. So let's get it out to everyone in Irish market who can, because it's a great product. It's it really is. So that's why we've done it.
Even something simple like garden sheds and stuff like that. Like
Yep. Nice and simple. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be too complicated. So
it's normally the simple stuff that are the best stuff.
But I love that. That's brilliant that you've looked at an industry, you've made yourself more efficient, and then you've created another profit center out of it as well.
It's our unique selling point now, almost as a company, because, like I say, I know that we're talking about getting kind of rapid delivery and things like that, but we can truly offer rapid delivery of a modular building now, whether it be temporary or permanent. We can offer rapid delivery.
Hi guys, as you're enjoying this podcast, I just wanted to take a few seconds to let you know about my company, Coyle Group. We're not just another safety recruitment agency. We're your partners in building a safer future. With over 25 years of experience and more than 1 million hours of safety work completed, our mission is clear: provide top-tier health and safety contractors tailored to the unique needs of your project. We also carry out on-site construction audits. From wind energy to power stations, utilities and engineering projects, our global reach and specialised expertise ensures your operations are not just compliant, but exemplary. For more information on how ensuring safety and sustainability of your products using our team of HSE contractors, visit coyle-group.com or click on the show notes or video description now. I've also put a booking link into the description for you to click and have a one-to-one conversation with me. Now, back to the podcast. Enjoy and see you soon.
So we just had something like a 200 kilometre or 200 miles per hour wind coming through Ireland recently. Is there any of your modular homes up in trees at the moment that need to be taken down?
We aren't doing any modular homes right now. So all our stuff is all education, all commercial offices, right? But that permanent modular school that we're building now, that's going to be finished in about 6 weeks, obviously that just lived through the storm, and not one issue.
Yeah, because I actually was on a construction meeting today, and it was in regards to wind turbines. And the wind turbines stood the test of time. Like, in fairness, there was only small bits and pieces. There was more with the substation. Probably tiles flew off the roof on the substation and stuff like that. But one of the positives that came out of it was that the tests and inspections never went as far as that type of destruction. So now that you're able to sort of re-look at the test certification for products because they've lived now through this event, it's a positive out of a negative, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way in that regard. But of course, you're very firmly stuck into the concrete anyway. You're not floating above the ground.
No, we're good. And the big thing about the permanent modular school we've got now is we're doing these CPDs that I've mentioned to you about, where we're getting as many people as we possibly can out to our live site CPD experience, so we can show them what a permanent modular school looks like and a building looks like, and get right under the bonnet of it, like you say, and kind of explain to them how it comes together, how it kind of works, and where the efficiencies are, and try and get them to spot where it is modular.
So talk to me a bit more about that. So you're offering, is it a course that you offer for people to get involved, or where's the CPD come into it?
Yeah, so what it's been is it's a certified CPD that we're offering, right? So an hour CPD, but it's actually on site. So we've turned the GP hall into an immersive CPD experience, right? So by that I mean you turn up, you get tea and coffee, you get to sit down, we do a CPD. We brought our virtual reality universe in there, so we've got VR goggles for everyone to put on and walk around a VR universe of our buildings, and then from that we take them on a guided tour around the building. And what that's done for us is, it's like August, September, October time last year, I was taking people around that building and they were gobsmacked by it. So I just knew that we had to get as many people as we possibly could through that door into an environment where they could learn about the building, see the building, because I can tell you all day long about that building and talk to you, but unless you see it, it's seeing is believing stuff, and actually the touch and the feel is, yeah.
Oh, I love it. I actually spoke to a construction company recently in Wisconsin, and they said, yeah, we set up a showroom in their building. I was like, a showroom? Like, you're a construction builder, you set up a showroom? I was going to start thinking, obviously thinking cars or whatever else. It's a brilliant idea. Have a showroom. Like, that's basically what you have, is a showroom.
We've got the biggest showroom you can ever imagine. It's a 3,600 square meter showroom on a 4 or 5 acre site, so it's the best showroom you're ever going to get. What we did last year is we're going down the student accommodation route at the minute to offer student accommodation. So we built a single pod, like you get a show home on an estate. We built a single pod, and that's in our place in Dunshaughlin there, so you can walk in around what a student pod would be like and how it's finished and all brought together.
When you talk about pods, I'm thinking hotels. So is the hotel industry going to change, do you think? Is there talks in that area, the hospitality?
There's a lot of talk going on, and there's a few that have been built in Dublin, to be fair, in modular, hotels and stuff, and it's perfect. Modular is so suited to student accommodation and hotels, because if you can fit everything within one module and have walls all around that, you can fit it out completely. Like, we can deliver stuff with bedding and plates in cupboard and everything. It's you land it, and I've seen travel lodges landed where you're landing it and there's TV remote sat there and beds made. It's just it's great. But it makes sense when you look at it and you see it.
All right, talk to me about the traditionalists, and talk to me about like you guys. We don't take you guys seriously. How many conversations have you had with the traditionalists, and what sort of banter goes on at the events when you meet these guys?
Look, plenty, and I think the best thing that's happening now is the fact that us as a modular company, we see there's still a place for traditional build. We're not saying there isn't. There always is going to be, for certain elements. But we can offer something there where we're trying to come together with some traditional builds and do like hybrid projects. So if it were like a big kind of open span atrium area that we needed, and then we can put our modules around it, and then we get efficiencies for everybody. So it's exciting times, to be fair, rather than anything else, and that's what's coming out of it, which is great. That's the way it's going.
We recently was involved with a project where it was a power plant, and to get planning approval for an extension to a power plant is pretty big. It's a lot of stuff to be done, and they went down the temporary route, and they basically bolted in a temporary power supply system, modular system, and it's actually not too far away from where you are, that particular power plant, and it's amazing. I was just blown away. Like within 6-8 months, they had a parallel modular version of the bricks and mortar power plant. So they can live together, I suppose, is what I'm.
Completely. We can offer a modular, building or a frame, and whether it's got batteries in there, servers in there, UPSs in there, whatever it's got in there, we can accommodate that, and that's where everybody comes together and gets that working.
So talk to me about the architects then. Why aren't the architects sort of getting out there and banging the drum and saying, hey, quicker, easier, cheaper?
Some are. Some are, to be fair to them, in around Ireland. There's a lot of guys that are in massive support of us, and that's great to see. But these kind of CPD sessions in this Kishore project I'm talking about, this is where we get those guys, the ones that are questioning modular, and we get them there because showing them around it, talking to them, and walking around. And there's not one that hasn't walked out of that CPD session and said, "Geez, we've got to consider this. This has got to be an option going forward for us." There's not, it's positive.
I actually seen one built pretty quickly in Adamstown outside. I don't know if it was one of your projects, but to the naked eye, anybody walking by or driving by that modular site would not know that they are modular.
Is that just outside Lucan, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our school. With the yellow panels.
No, it's not a school, actually. It's modular homes.
Oh, sorry, modular homes. Actually, okay.
You wouldn't know. Yeah. In terms of expansion and expansion joints, how is the technology or the engineering allowing for, what was traditionally, standard techniques for expansion joints within the building to allow the building to breathe, open and close, whatever? How does the modular side of things deal with that?
So our structural engineer, we've got an in-house chartered structural engineer in our design team and an architect and everything. So we've got our own in-house design team, right? So what we do is the big projects that we do, we're normally going to look at some kind of if you've got kind of 3 volumes in, say, like a U shape or an L shape or anything like that, you're going to look at the kind of the joints between those as being expansion joints. But apart from that, like the render systems that we use and the external wall systems, you don't need expansion joints in those, whether it be traditional or modular. And our build, there's no issue in that one.
Yeah, but I suppose if you're dealing with high rise and maybe maybe a hotel type of a structure and stuff like that, that you still use it's still the same technique, is it, for the expansion? Okay, so the material is it doesn't matter that there's a different material. It's irrelevant. The same construction techniques follow, and the same engineering calculations follow. Nothing to take into consideration on it.
No, you like the systems that we use for our external wall, in theory, that render, brick slip and everything could go onto a traditional build. It could go onto that, so there's no issue on that side. Well, there's a few. Yeah, there's a few around Ireland. Yeah, no, there's kind of 12 or 13 on a framework with the department that are delivering schools and everything. So it's a competitive market, which is. It's a good thing, to be honest, and the thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to stay ahead. So obviously by delivering the first permanent modular, we're kind of, we're pushing ahead, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, because within the UK and Ireland, I suppose there would be a very prominent case. We don't have to mention names, but of a company, pretty sizable company that went down into liquidation. So there's also it still doesn't solve the issue of construction companies going into liquidation based on whatever was going on. So, do you see risks within your industry?
Oh yeah, the risks are there without a doubt. And like pipeline's one of them, a massive risk. having that kind of foresight of what's coming, and the kind of the placing orders we kind of, because we're seen as rapid delivery and kind of more emergency temporary accommodation. It's always that kind of, can you deliver it in 6 weeks, 8 weeks? And, whereas what we're trying to get into that situation is we're kind of looking at a strategic plan of what's needed over the next 3, 4, 5 years, and start getting some pipeline there. We can see projects coming up, and, as it stands right now, if I can see ahead of us in production by, 6 to 8 months, that's amazing. That's fantastic. We should be looking ahead 12, 24 months, to be honest.
Well, you see, I have to say to you, and sorry for throwing a curveball in here, but your USP is we can get it up and get it done quickly, faster than, and that's been the traditional message from what I believe in modular. But now you're telling us, no, we need a stretch.
No, it's more that. So we're going to be offering a few kind of products. That's what we're offering. So we've got the rapid stuff, which is fine. We'll keep going at the rapid stuff that can be delivered, no problem, emergencies and stuff. But the permanent stuff that we're looking at and the bigger projects, the kind of the large scale modular, that's where if you had that pipeline to see that coming up, because we can run both. We've got capacity to do both. There's no issue there. But the frame thing and the rapid delivery with the Howick frames and the that kind of side, that was all down to the fact that we needed to deliver rapid solutions, and we're still going to have to do for the next few years. We get that, but if we could see ahead that there's potentially 3 or 4 projects coming up, and we can get ahead and get in tenders and get those won, and see that in February next year there's we're getting a project that's going to be into a kind of production stage, because you can imagine the front end design of modular is much more detailed. It's much more you've got to be much more structured, because from day one, well, not day one, but kind of right into that kind of detailed design, you haven't got long before you've got to get it frozen. You've got to get your window colours chosen, your render colours, your doors, because once it goes through that production facility, you've got to pack as much value into that as you can. So if you're not fitting your windows in production and you're fitting them on site, you're losing value, you're losing efficiencies.
Did you notice that there was a increase in inquiries into your business since that other company went bust or went down under? Like, has it caused a massive ripple within the industry? Has there any been sort of repercussions out of that?
Not massively, to be honest. No, not huge ripples, I suppose. Like I say, there's a lot of players left, and there's a few new ones starting up every now and again. So it is a competitive market. I mean, I think that the UK is the one where they're losing quite a few. Modular guys out there. They've lost a few recently, and it's that's where you're going to feel bigger ripples out there, I'm sure.
So, are you doing anything in the UK?
No.
So, give me. Do you have a sense of square footage and what you've built in the last year or the last 12 months?
We build about 500 modules a year is what we're building at the minute. So, typical module would be about 30 square meters. So what we're doing now is we've got a purpose-built production facility that we're going to be building down the road. So that's developing kind of a 22-acre site, and that's going to be where we're going to be able to triple its capacity. Okay.
And what about the natural disaster side of the business? Have you tapped into that market at all? Or are you looking at that market?
No, not at the minute. No. Our biggest problem at the minute is that kind of we're so busy with 500 modules is kind of is kind of our peak, our maximum that we can do in our current facility. So the thing we can't do is start taking on bigger jobs elsewhere at the minute until we get the new facility in place. Because if we take on the bigger stuff and we can't deliver, that's no good for anybody.
Talk to me about the CPAC culture, and talk to me about your influence and what is culture to you, and how do you bring people in to do it the Mark Whitehead blueprint way?
Yeah, look, there's no Mark Whitehead blueprint way, if you know what I mean. I love getting people in who've got different ideas and different kind of visions, and working with them and giving them an opportunity, kind of empowering them to do what they think is right and how they want to do it, because I'm not perfect, I never will be, and getting that influence from other people. But I suppose I just got to lead by example. You've got to be the one that's kind of stood there saying, if we're saying we're going to do it, then by God, we better do it. We're going to do it. we're not going to say we're going to do it and then not deliver. And yeah, look, the culture here is kind of a big kind of it's seen as a marketing thing in one sense, but it's part of the pack. That's the thing that kind of our market manager came up with there. It's part of the pack, and it's it's a big thing. It's kind of people feel part of the pack, and we're getting, again, it's getting that kind of vision of where we're going. So like our big aim now is to get to the new facility, because we can see, everybody in the company can see where the benefits are of getting to that new facility. So let's get there. And then once we're there, we don't stand still. That's when we start bringing the big jobs in and we move forward again.
So is there a board of directors then within the business? So do you sit on the board, or are you feeding to the board?
Yeah, we meet with the board once a quarter, yeah.
Okay, so CEO, directors meet with the board of directors. So there's a board of directors, but then there's obviously the operations team and the executive team, if you like, yeah.
Yeah. The executive team at the minute is mainly made up of myself and Sean Murphy, who's the managing director. So that's the two of us who kind of, run all the day-to-day stuff here and making sure everything's, moving in the right direction.
Okay, biggest challenge at the moment, is it recruitment?
Yeah, we'd have 5 or 6 positions available at the minute, which we're struggling to recruit for. But recruitment's a challenge. I can see that what happens with modular is that in Ireland there's always a big demand at certain times of the year, because like obviously we're coming to school season now, summer season, so there's always that kind of procurement risk. That's always a risk, where your lead time starts stretching out from your 4 weeks for Windows up to kind of 12 weeks and everything. So that's always a risk.
And do you multitask the guys? So would the field guys come back into the production facility then as well, or no? You don't co-mingle.
We're not able to at the minute, because we just got, like, if our production facility is going full bore, then we need every one of them out there, because we're again, because it's lean, it's you can't have it. We ain't got 10 extra people who are kind of surplus to requirements out there, if that makes sense. For us to produce the certain amount of modules I need to produce, it's as lean as it can be. And then the site team are landing our units and landing our modules, and they're experts in the field at that. We've got a couple of guys there, Dave and Les, like these guys that have been with us for 35 years. So these guys are the breadbone of the backbone of the building, the company sort of thing out there.
What capacity do you think you have in order to scale? Once you get the new facility up and running, what give me a percentage of capacity that would increase your capability to?
We'll go from 500 up to 1500 without even on a single shift,
on a single shift. So that was the other question I was going to ask you, was could you see yourself going into a 3-shift pattern, or maybe a night shift and a day shift?
I'd love to. Yeah, love to. That's where we're getting to.
That's where the real lean stuff comes in.
That's where the real lean stuff comes into. So what we do is we get into the new place, we get it working as a 8-hour shift. Once that's up and running, then there's definitely possibility for looking at a double shift or a triple shift. Sky's the limit, Gavin.
And you haven't even gone, and you haven't even crossed the pond over to the UK or into the States yet.
No, we're looking at Europe and looking at UK at the minute. So we've been kind of been out there having conversations and been to certain conferences and everything. So there's definitely an appetite from that kind of side. But like I say, we get what we're doing right in Ireland right first, which we have done. I feel at the minute we're in a position where we're doing that really well. We get the extra capacity in the new place, and then we can look at seriously pushing into those markets.
Is there any intellectual property tag to what you do? Is there an IP?
Not massively. Look, I'll be honest with you, there's not. If anybody wants to come and visit our facility, just get in contact and you can come and visit it. There's nothing to hide.
Yeah, there's no. No, I'm just thinking. Is there any sort of IP related to the business? Probably not. But are you an Enterprise Ireland client, for example? Yeah, so I've found them brilliant in terms of trying to open up doors and open up regions, and the support has been fantastic. They're great guys for getting your name out there.
Oh no, they are. We'll keep pushing along with Enterprise Ireland, and like I say, that's really going to come into effect in kind of the next 12 months when we're pushing into that kind of European market.
Okay, Grenfell. Have to talk about it. A horrific tragedy, obviously, damaged the reputation for a lot of well-known sort of construction companies and stuff like that got involved into the whole thing. I don't want to get into that. Looks like it's going to be taken down from reports that recently that has come out. Again, the facade was one of the key issues contained within the whole disaster, if you like. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the chances of having a Grenfell with a modular building?
Not one of the bars. 100%. That's what, and not with anyone in Ireland, to be honest. All the guys that we're building out here, there's a lot of guys, good guys building. What we've done is, like, fire testing is huge for us. Like, we've done 16 fire tests in the last 2 years. So we're making sure that everything we do is tested, it's certified, all the right products are used, and then it's our quality team then that are really pushing it, because the same old story with this stuff. If you do a fire test, it's great, but then unless you replicate that system into your building and it's the right screw, it's the right sealant, the right board, then the fire test is nil and void. There's no point of doing it. So that's where our quality team, we've really pushed our quality team now with quality managers, quality engineers, to be out there quality checking, quality assurance, and a signed certifier. Whenever they want to come in and visit our product in and look at it and see it on a project, the door's open. There's never a moment where you're kind of trying to hide anything. It's all open, it's all there. We've got Evercams. Have you seen the Evercam construction cameras? So we've got the live construction cameras in our production facility. So, if the assigned certifier wants to see that building being built from start to finish, you can watch that camera. There's no issue.
Okay. Is there an ISO standard to the build as well? Is there a specific standard? No.
For the frames and everything, we've got EN 1090. So for all the frames and everything, and then we've got as ISO, we've got 9001, there's 14,001, there's 45,001. All that good stuff. And then we're looking at different ways we can, because sustainability is obviously the big one now, where we're looking at green steel and how we can pull all that into, kind of get that out there, get the right materials in there.
So in terms of warranties and guarantees and all that kind of stuff, that's you've nailed that now. The industry has nailed that in terms of, you can go for a full life cycle now. What certifies that?
What certifies that? So we're looking at the NSA agreement cert at the minute. So we just nearly got through that process. So we're nearly there with that now for kind of residential side of it, if we wanted to go down that route. And then you're looking at Eurocodes for all your design, your structure, and everything like that from it.
Probably an odd question, but do you see yourself as a manufacturer or a construction company?
A construction company.
Sure about that?
If you go out and see one of our sites, you'll see how lean they are as well. So we've turned construction on its head a little bit. So I get what you're saying with the manufacturing side of it. I understand that completely. But if you forget that construction element when you're building these modules and you're doing it, they're going to fail when they get to site, if that makes sense. You've got to get the right guys building them. It is manufacturing. I get it. It's repeatable, so you can train people very quickly. But you need people with construction experience, and that's where kind of the guys that we've got with a lot of experience come into the fore.
So, but you've taken out a lot of the on-site build by obviously having it manufactured and stuff like that, which is obviously a great saving for everybody. But the mech and elec industry have definitely moved on as far as what I see, in terms of they do a serious amount of off-site production in the mech and elec industry, and then they're just basically putting the Mikado set together once they get to site and stuff like that. So it's not that it's unique to yourself. It's happening, and I think it's a great conversation to have today on the podcast, because people should be thinking laterally and thinking lean and thinking, how can I re-engineer what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis in a way that's going to make myself more sustainable, more efficient, more profitable, and more useful to the industry and to the consumer, in terms of, we can get this done, and we can get it done in a time scale that we can probably be within 4 weeks, plus or minus, in terms of delivery.
Solve some of the problems out there for housing, for schools and everything. That's 100%.
Are you? Give me some metrics. Can you throw some lean metrics at me in terms of deliverables? What sort of metrics are you that you go home at night and you're still thinking about?
I suppose a big one for us with the kind of reworks. That's kind of a big measurement that we have there, a big metric there with whoever is Kappa, their kind of reworks that have happened. So we're down to kind of reworks from production onto site, moving out to site there. We're down to kind of around about it's a 0.02% of a sales that we've got down. That down to the reworks cost. So we really are honing on reworks. Reworks not kill the job, but slow the job down, and it's not what anybody wants. So that's where we've really honed on. And our quality manager Les, he's one of the guys that's been with us for 33 years. So there's not a building he hasn't built in modular yet, if you know what I mean. He's one of them guys who's so we've really given him the task to kind of drive that quality element, and we're in a controlled environment. We're in a controlled production environment, so there's no excuses for not getting things right in there, to be honest.
Yeah, and if you were talking to somebody that was thinking about getting into construction and starting a trade, or just to getting generally into construction, if you were sitting beside them in a bar, what would you tell them? Why would you tell them to get into modular?
I just think it's just so exciting at the minute. Like the innovation in modular and the innovation in MMC, it's just fantastic. Like we're pushing forward. You're always kind of solving problems, and you're coming up with new solutions, and you're testing, you're trying, and the way that the industry is moving forward is just really exciting. Really exciting.
Okay, a couple of curveball questions at you, if you don't mind. Yeah. Favorite film and why?
Oh, favorite film. Good question. The Netflix is terrible now, because all you do with Netflix is you watch 10 films a week nowadays, don't you? And you forget what you've watched sometimes. I'm looking forward to Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, if that's any good.
Is it coming out? Is it? I didn't know that. Oh my god, with Adam Sandler in it as well. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, knowing what you know now, what would you do different, Mark Whitehead? Knowing what you know in general, yeah, it doesn't have to be business related. Knowing what you know now, what would you do different?
So I'd probably, there's always those projects that you're looking at, you're thinking, do you, don't you? You're going to make money, you're not going to make money, that kind of side of it. And I'd have probably taken a few more of those on in the last few years, to be honest, and taking a bit more of a risk on it.
Okay. Okay, so say we never met you before. Obviously, a lot of the listeners wouldn't have met you before, but like, tell us something of interest about you that we wouldn't point a finger and go, "Oh, I never knew that about Mark." Cool. And remember now, be careful.
Something of interest of me. What can I say to you, Gavin? I suppose when I used to be a very keen squash player. I used to play for Yorkshire and represent Yorkshire at squash until I got to under-16s and everything. So is that something interesting about me?
Fair play. And I tell you what a brilliant game. What a brilliant sport.
It's great, Gavin. And what I did is, when I first came over to Ireland, is I decided to enter the over 35 Masters Irish Championship. And I couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards.
Yeah, like everybody's talking about paddle tennis at the moment. That for me, give me a squash court any day. But that's the problem. Give me a squash court in Ireland. There's so very few squash courts. There's not enough of them. We need modular squash courts, please.
No problem.
Favorite holiday destination and why?
Italy. Love Italy.
Oh wow. Okay. Any particular part, or
Amalfi Coast, that kind of direction and everything, that kind of way. Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
I have it on the list, but what about the cliffs there? Like, in terms of walking around and getting around and stuff like that, is it a challenge?
It's jumping on them buses and going around those coasts and those roads. It's a scary experience at times. Yeah, but I know it's lovely. Italy, the food, the drink, the wine, everything. That's it's a fantastic place.
Yeah, I was in Venice last year. Got eaten alive by mosquitoes. Really bad experience with mosquitoes. Yeah. They had me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they had a lot of me.
Yeah.
So I think then I wouldn't mind. But we had a friend from Italy, and she said, "Oh well, I never go back to Italy." I think it was June time we went there. Was not a good time in terms of mosquitoes. People want to get in touch with you. People want to reach out to you. You're obviously open to that, are you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. No problem.
So what we'll do is we'll put a couple of links in the show notes.
Yeah, on the LinkedIn or whatever and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you're strong on LinkedIn? Yeah.
Try to be.
Yeah. So if people are trying to look you up, Mark Whitehead, CPAC Modular Construction Director. We'll put the website there as well. Maybe you should share some portfolios with us as well, or a link to some of your portfolios. We'll put that in there as well. I think, in fairness to you and to your passion, came across in the podcasts. Really, really passionate about your industry. I love talking to people that are just nearly nerdy about their own speciality. Like, I have to say, I it's infectious for me to talk to people that are actually totally passionate about what they do, totally believe in what they do. Rightly or wrongly, people can have their own opinions, traditional or not traditional. It looks like it's going to be on par with traditional if it's not there already. And I think you're at the forefront to deliver success, and an Irish homegrown success as well, which is a credit to you. So Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and thanks very much.
Cheers, Gavin. Thank you very much.
Hello, Gaffers. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We love every one of the guests that we have, but in order to bring on more great guests, we'd love to build the channel with you. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and let's create a really great community where we bring in better and better guests for you to deliver great content and great pieces of information that you can take back into your business.